I'm Kate, that's Jamie, and this is Dumby News. So sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the highs and lows of the digital landscape.
Let's see what we can uncover as we search through the endless content online. Come scroll with us.
Hi, all. We are back with round 3 of Gypsy Rose.
And an interesting one it shall be.
So we will be recapping the last 2 episodes. So episode 7 and episode 8. And episode 8 was the finale. Okay, where we left off. We left off and Gypsy went to go see her parents for the weekend without Ryan to spend time with her dad. They went crabbing and had a good time. And now they're opening up episode 7, which is titled, Are You Happy? Which, foreshadowing for sure. Anyway, so they open up with Gypsy talking to her dad about Ryan and the argument that they were in. And then she shows her dad the text message from Ryan about Ryan talking about her dad. The text message said, I'm going to be honest about something. I could really give a fuck about your dad's one-on-one time with you right now. I want to love on my wife. Ha ha. Such a weird text message.
Very cringe.
So she shows that to her dad. And Rod, it says, wow, that's unbelievable. It's a shame he feels that way. Is this his true colors coming out?
Well, and
Off,
I think Rod's feelings were a little hurt by that because
totally.
he was trying to give Ryan a chance. He was kind of like the only one trying to give Ryan a chance.
Totally. He was on Ryan's side. He wanted nothing to do with Ken. He didn't like that Christy was talking to Ken. He was the only person Ryan had, truly.
Right. Ryan probably should have been a little bit more grateful of that fact.
You would think.
Not that
So
I think it would have mattered
I don't think so
in
either.
the end, anyway.
No, I don't think so either. Gypsy continues to tell Christy and her dad about Ryan and this fight that they had, which you shouldn't do that anyway. And unless you're really truly about to leave, which I guess we all kind of know she's on her way out. But when you start doing things, and she's been doing it from the beginning, right? She's kind of been trash talking Ryan to her family. You shouldn't do that. It's going to make
Right.
everything harder because if you do decide to forgive that person or work it out or whatever, that doesn't mean the rest of your family is going to be willing to do that now that you told them all your dirty laundry.
Right.
She starts kind of getting defensive because she's telling her parents about how Ryan is accusing her of having Ken over there. And she is like, how dare he say that I'm doing that at my parents' house, cheating with Ken? It's like, well, it's not like you with Christy and everything else. I might be worried too, you know, just I'd
Yeah,
be
but
nervous too.
Ryan's been on her grill about her text messages and
Oh, yeah.
this, that, and the other. Like,
He loves looking over her shoulder at her text messages.
I know, and I'm like, my guy, look at the road, okay?
I couldn't imagine because it's constant. You see him do it all the time in the show. He's always looking at who she's texting. That's
Do you
so
think they're
weird to
just
me.
sitting in the car for cinematic effect and it's like a screen
It's
rolling
fake.
behind them.
So they're just talking about this fight. She's saying that they go through this cycle constantly where over the last 3 years of their relationship that she gets a little bit of freedom and he gets jealous and possessive, which to me makes no sense because she just got out of prison. So what kind of freedom? I don't know. The way it was put, I'm like, I don't know. They're both constantly ragging on each other. They can't wait to get to a camera behind the scenes to talk shit about each other.
Right.
Like, I know for a fact, like, my husband wouldn't be just completely talking shit like that behind my back to cameras. I know it's reality TV, but they're putting it all out there.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Absolutely not. No way. So Gypsy goes home and she's clearly not happy. Ryan buys her flowers and said he was just joking and that he's sorry. He's like, "Didn't you see that ha ha I put at the end of that text message?" Bro, that
Yeah,
doesn't
the
just
haha didn't make it any less
no.
weird.
No. It was still like a really shitty thing and a weird thing to say.
Right, because Gypsy's done nothing but be with you in your house under your ever watchful eye since she has set foot out of prison. And I do to think I do think that her dad deserves his time with her. Being is
Totally.
that they were robbed of like her whole life together, basically.
No, I think that's really valid, and I don't see why he would be so upset to let her go for a weekend to go hang out with her parents and to like reconnect. It shouldn't be a big deal, in my opinion. She should be able to go or whatever. As long as her probation officer doesn't care, she should be able to do whatever the hell she wants.
But more than Rod, I think Ryan's biggest issue was that he 100% felt like Ken was there the entire time.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that that was the issue because when she was there, he was like, "Oh, video call me." And she was like, "No," which I think is what prompted this text. I think he wanted to like have a sexy video call with her. She's like, "No, like I'm on camera, like my dad's here, like no, that's why he sent that text message too, because that text message was like kind of gross. He was basically like, "I don't care about your dad. You need to come fuck me." It's like, what the
Right.
hell? Such a weird. And you can tell she has the ick by him from him anyway. He's ick. The
Yeah.
sparkle in her eyes was gone quickly, I tell you. Now they cut to Gypsy and Ryan sitting down on the couch, and he goes to play a TikTok that Gypsy posted. And he was like, "All right, now let's see what's caused a ruckus or whatever." So it must have been a dramatic TikTok. The beginning of the TikTok said, "When I seen the parole board, they asked me what was my feelings about my co-defendant and what do I feel that he was sentenced to life with no parole compared to my sentence. And I was honest with them that I feel like more than one of life was taken that night." So that's what she says in that TikTok. She also states that there's two stipulations to her sentence, and that was mandatory therapy and no contact with her co-defendant. So she gets reported for this TikTok, which I believe is why he wanted to see it. Now, Ryan sits down and watches it with her sitting next to her, and the way he like smirks at her is really creepy. He likes when she's getting attention like that. He likes when she posts a TikTok that's cringy and weird and getting attention. You can tell that he likes it. He likes the attention, I think, too.
Yeah. I do think, because you mentioned that she got reported for said TikTok, I think whoever reported her is a total Karen, because I think it's a reach to say that she was trying to reach out to her co defendant via that TikTok. Can you even have TikTok in prison?
You're not supposed to have phones, but I'm pretty sure like there are so many phones in prison.
I still don't think that she was like trying to reach out to her co defendant.
No, I don't either. Absolutely not. People online have been saying that should be in prison and not Nick. And he was sentenced to life without parole. And I don't think that they should have done the no parole. I think he should be able to be paroled or be able to fight for being paroled, whatever the words are for that.
I think he should get to fight for being put in like a psychiatric hospital, because I think that that would be more effective than prison for him, because I think he's already got a little something wrong with him.
Right. And that I feel like was really established. I'm surprised by his sentence, quite honestly. They really did throw the book at him, and it seems, I mean, he killed someone and it was premeditated. That's bad.
It was
Okay.
also coerced.
And with him being diagnosed, I do believe, as autistic or something else, he had learning disabilities that he had struggled with. He had antisocial tendencies that he struggled with.
I don't know. I do feel bad for him though. I think he got the shitty end of the stick there.
100%. So her parole officer calls because people are um, complaining. She hangs up with her parole officer and she says that she has to delete her social media. And Ryan pops up faster than I think I've ever seen that man move ever and was like, "What?" Like,
Yeah, like,
um,
oh, what? You're gonna turn off the money supply?
exactly. He's like, "Baby, that's revenue." Gypsy's like, "I don't care. I don't care about that." Like, yeah, do you want her to go back to fucking jail? She
Right.
doesn't, she's not trying to mess around. She's going to listen to her parole officer the way she's supposed to.
And I think it's weird that they allow her to have social media and stuff anyway, because isn't that like a stipulation a lot of the times when you first get out of prison you're not supposed to have?
They only gave her the two stipulations, and that isn't one of them. She's just not allowed to contact her co-defendant, and she has to have mandatory therapy. So I don't know how that all works. So she's like freaking out. She's pissed at him for obvious reasons, and she goes out to the deck and she's crying and she's saying everybody just wants to send me back.
Well, and she did get some hateful comments,
Oh
I will
yeah,
say.
totally. Like Gypsy should have never been on social media in the first place. People wanted to glorify her, now they villainize her for not acting how they wanted her to. There was another one that it was just basically like she needs to be in prison, not Nick. And now Jesus, Ryan. Ryan's kind of fighting back with her, which is silly because she's obviously like really upset. And he's like, "Well, we at least need to pull that money out and like we've got to figure out that money out." And she's like, "Would you put a price on my freedom?" He's not wrong that they should pull the money out, but also like time and place. Talk about that not right this second when she's like distraught
Right,
because you
like at
only
least
care
make
about
it
money.
seem, yeah, at least make it seem like you care about her a little bit before the money.
Right. Let's address her feelings and what's going on with her parole before we ask about the money.
Because she had said, well, I'll just not tell you and delete it one day while you're at work and you'll get home and I'll be like, oh no, I don't know what happened. And he was like, no, you won't. No, you
Yeah.
won't. And I was like, okay.
He's like, this is your job. This is your income. You need to tell them that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was very concerned.
Too concerned. Too concerned. So that goes to 2 days later, and they're on date night. Woo! Gross. I
And
hated how
she
he did
is
that.
obviously thrilled to be on date night.
Oh my
She is having
god.
the time of her life.
You can see it in her eyes. She would uh, she might be
No, for
contemplating going
everyone that
back to
can't tell
prison.
that I am being sarcastic, she absolutely was not thrilled. You could see that she would have rather been anywhere else than out to dinner with him at this moment.
100%. They're in the car on their way there, and he's like, I wish you'd talk to me. God, when he said that, I was like, ew, he sounded like a grandpa. Like, that's what I thought. I'm like, gross.
He gives me the ick anyway for multiple reasons.
So they're at this restaurant, and he's like, definitely trying to be romantic and lovey-dovey. He wants to go and travel, and he brings up redoing their wedding and how they should have done it at that venue, and they can still do it.
And it seems like he can feel that something's off and he's like pushing extra hard to be extra lovey dovey and yeah.
100%. You can totally tell. And he said, would you remarry me? And she's like, can we not do this on camera?
He's like, oh, well, so that's a no, right?
She's like, some things can be just between us. Like, straight up, like, ew, don't talk to me. Like, no, dummy, I wouldn't marry you again. Not for not for a million fucking dollars.
Right, like I already got one foot out the door. No.
He asks her, have you felt cooped up any this week? She says, well, what a weird question. Have you felt cooped up this week? Like, have I kept you inside too long? Should I turn on the ceiling fan for you? Like, I don't know. She says, our lives are just very cookie cutter right now. It's very routine. And Ryan's like, that's not true. She keeps telling him like what she wants. She wants to do stuff. She wants to not have to be stuck in the house. She wants to be able to go places. And it seems like the only thing he wants to do is go out to dinner.
Right.
Ryan gets up from the table and the producer asks Gypsy how she's feeling, and she says, I think tonight I'm just in a mood. Like, okay. Okay, girl. They get
Just
back
a
to the car and he's just saying, like, every time we go out to dinner, all you want to do is fight. Like, you hate it or something. And so they're fighting
they've done
again.
a lot of fighting in this series, but especially in these last couple episodes.
It's all they're doing is fighting. And this, like I said before, he just sounds so old. And when they're fighting here, she sounds so young. It sounds so much more like a father-daughter argument than like a spousal argument. It's really off-putting. It does not
Well, and
feel
he
adult.
does seem to have like controlling tendencies.
Yes, 100%. It probably makes her kind of revert, you know?
Right.
She asks him, "Are you happy?" And he's like, "Of course I am. You were, now all of a sudden you aren't. Go call Ken. Fuck you. Probably already did," or whatever he said. And it's like, damn. Immediate, like. And then right after that, he's trying to be like, she's like, "I didn't." And he's like, "Oh, well, you're not." Like, completely changes his entire demeanor all of a sudden,
Right.
which, like, I don't like that. He
Red
did,
flag.
yeah, he did that in the last episode too. He gives her the whole "not every day is rainbows and sunshine" lecture, which, again, that's something you say to, like, children when you can't get ice cream, not, like, when your wife's trying to fucking divorce you or separate from you.
Right.
And Gypsy says, "Sometimes I just think I'd be happier somewhere else." Ooh, and I saw her holding a little ciggy. I knew they were smoking because they go outside a lot, but I think that was the only time I actually saw her holding a ciggy. I don't think they can show that on TV. I think they missed it.
Oh, I guess I didn't catch that.
Yeah, she was like, because she's in the car and it's dark, but she has it down and she's holding it.
Hmm.
So so she's crying and he's outside smoking and pacing, and he's like, "I wish my wife would stop doing this." Okay. And then he brings up how when she was growing up, every time they went out, it was exciting and they were always going to Disneyland or whatever. And that that's not real life, and life with him is a normal real life.
Right. And Gypsy does seem like she needs to be going. She needs to be doing something. It needs to be fun all the time.
That's true. She does very much have that energy. But that is part of who she is. She has that energy. So if you wanted to marry somebody like that, I feel like you would know.
And this
Like
is
that,
why you don't marry people that are in prison because you don't know what kind of energy they have.
right.
Not really.
No. No. Even people dating somebody for years regularly.
The
You
fact
don't
that
know.
they're in prison, red flag.
You would think. You would think. So they're fighting, crying, the same old shit that they've been doing for the last however long. So Gypsy goes to stay with Mia, her sister, for the night, and then the next day she's gonna go get her stuff from Ryan's with her stepmom, Christy. She's telling her stepmom and her sister that she's in a codependent marriage and she needs space. Ryan says they made up, he thought, and then she went and moved into the spare room and then she just left. And that he thinks she's being influenced by Christy. Well, he doesn't name Christy, but we all know what he meant. And Christy is talking to Gypsy with Mia at Mia's house. And
And Mia might be the only one that makes any sense. We
totally,
need to
she calls
listen to
out
Mia.
Christy over and over again. Basically, is like, "Why are you meddling? Like, leave it alone." Because
Right.
Christy
Let
says
it be.
it's one prison to another, and Mia's like, "Okay, no, it's not. Let's chill for a second here." Not. Not exactly the same. And then Gypsy says, I won't say that I'm getting a divorce, which, again, sure, Gypsy. They get Gypsy stuff and they complain, or Gypsy mentions that it's dirty again in there. And she says bye to her puppy, which was sad. I think Ryan still has the puppy. I don't think she ever retrieved said puppy.
She should have took the puppy. I feel like.
I do too. And she says at the end of this episode, if it's a separation, it's one thing, and if it's a divorce, that's another thing. Which, okay,
It was it was her idea to get the puppy.
right? Yeah, I don't know. And supposedly, I don't know if we're gonna go over it in this next episode or if I heard it online. I don't remember. But like supposedly, even though she was saying like, no, we're not trying to get pregnant yet or whatever, like apparently like they were. That's what Ryan says. That the whole time, as soon as she got out of prison, they were trying.
I remember him saying that, so it must have been in the episode.
Okay, we're on to episode 8, the finale episode.
The juicy episode.
So, starts in the car with Gypsy and Christy leaving Ryan's apartment and talking about the breakup. She does say that she loves and is grateful for Ryan and what he's done for her. Which, to me, kind of when she was saying that stuff, it's like, thanks for letting me use you for a little bit. I'm done with it.
I think that Gypsy wanted to love
Yes,
Ryan,
I do too.
and she just doesn't. It's not there. There's no chemistry.
No.
There's
That
no
doesn't even
spark.
mean that she doesn't necessarily like Ryan. Listen, I've been in relationships where it's like, you know what, you're cool and I don't hate you, but I don't feel that way about you, you know?
Right.
It happens. For her it just happened really quick. There's no way for her to know someone beforehand,
Right.
which she does kind of talk about with Christy is like, when I was in prison, I thought this is what I wanted. She's like, there's kind of no way to know, and there isn't. There's no way to know.
That's why you don't get
No.
married in prison.
Yeah, to somebody you actually don't know at all.
Because this is what happens. Then you get out and you find out that they give you the ick.
So now her dad talks about to Christy that he understands how it feels because he went through the same thing with Gypsy's mom, which to me, it is really similar, but in a different way, in the way that I think they're both kind of being groomed. I think Gypsy and her dad were being groomed by people who held some kind of something over them, and it is what it is. I think I don't want to say that about Ryan though. I do 100% think Gypsy's mom should not have been with her dad. She was way too old and that was weird. But Ryan and Gypsy, they're just not good for each other and he does really manipulate her. But she manipulates him too, but he's the one, when she gets out, he has the car, he has the money, he's got her safety in his hands, which means, yeah, like he does have a lot of power over her.
And she's basically reliant on him.
Correct.
They're not like a normal married couple. It's not their home and their car, and it's
No.
his stuff.
Right. Exactly. It is cute though when Gypsy's like at home with her dad because you can just tell like he's so happy to just be with her and be around her. It's really sweet. I really like Rod. Rod and Mia truly want what's best and are good people, I think. So
Yeah.
hopefully she listens to them. I think those are
Well,
the
she
two.
hasn't so far.
I know. Those are the two best people she has on her side, and she's listening to Crazy Christy. I think I think Christy's got a crush on Ken and like is trying to like live vicariously or something through Gypsy. I do not know what
Right,
she is
because what
doing.
is her deal with
It's
Gypsy and
weird.
Ken and pushing so hard for Gypsy to leave Ryan and get back with Ken? And like
No,
she has plotted against their marriage for sure, in my opinion.
I agree. I think it's weird. She it's one thing to be like, yeah, maybe Ryan's not good for you or whatever, and to have that opinion and to want to help her and have her move back. Sure, I guess. I can see that opinion. But to be like, no, get back together with your ex-boyfriend or whatever, that's weird. That's where it gets creepy.
Right, because why are you carrying on this relationship for Ken where you're over here professing his love to Gypsy?
Right, because she never even need me is the one who pointed that out to her. Thank goodness for her. And she keeps calling her out. She keeps calling her mom out. But she said, she's like, you didn't even have to tell Gypsy that. Why did you even tell her?
Yeah, I know. She was done so quick. She's like, this conversation is over before I get pissed off. I'm done with
Right.
this.
Gypsy says she has too much baggage for Ryan. She says she's not helping him and is only making him sad. Okay. 1 week later, Ryan is with Pixie in the apartment. Ryan says he's still getting I miss you and I love you texts. And he sent pictures of Gypsy and Ken together and that it was evil. She tells him, don't worry, we're just friends. And then he sees the husky heart tattoos, which that's what sent him. And he starts crying. I don't blame him though. That's got to be tough. But
Can we
also,
talk about why are they just hopping right in and going for
ah,
matching tattoos? Goofy.
so weird. And like she just got that tattoo with Ryan. They're not necessarily matching, but still, like she got a tattoo with Ryan first. You're just gonna copy that and do that with Ken. Like that's weird. That's weird. You're kind of weird for that. Ryan says he's going to get her for adultery. She says that her and Ken didn't have sex and that they're just friends. No one believes that. Well, obviously now we definitely don't,
No.
um, based on what transpires. But no, no, no. It was already messy. It was already messy. And this is where it gets even more messy is that supposedly she's still texting him, but she's with Ken. She's doing the same thing that she was doing with Ryan and Ken, but with Ken and Ryan now. She just flip flopped it. That's what it seems
Right.
like. She just wants the attention, in my opinion. Ryan says he's got her for adultery. She says she didn't have sex with him. Gypsy's on the phone with Ryan. I don't want this to be something you hate me for. I'd probably hate me. I've broken every vow that I've made and is crying. And Ryan says, you're still technically my wife and I love you. At least let me see you. And he's very adamant that he wants to see her. And Gypsy says, I don't want to give you false hope. Even this call is giving you false hope. And she says, like, I shouldn't have even called you. So she called him. And then when they hang up, she was like, I'll text you later. Okay.
Seems a little counterproductive to be like, no, I'm not gonna see you. In fact, let's stop this phone call right now because I'm giving you false hope, but then I'll continue to lead you on here in a little bit with a text.
Right. Please do expect me to be texting you and making you upset again. See ya in a few.
Right. Like, leave him or don't, but pick one.
She calls Ken because, of course, she does. She tells him that Ryan wants to meet up, and he goes, no. He asks her if she wants to work anything out with Ryan, and she says no, and they hang up and they say, I love you to each other. Very easily, very casually, like they do it all the time.
But they're not boinking.
No. So it goes to her, and she's saying, Ken has always been in my heart. And they spent a week together, and she talks about the husky tattoos because they don't have that filmed. And she said that she's like a giddy teenager and she's so happy. Yeah. I mean, you're acting like a teenager for sure, and so is Ken. So they show her getting her nose done, which I'm not even going to get into. It looks great. Good job. I'm glad she got her nose done. Christy
It
tells
does.
Rod that Christy tells Rod, Gypsy's dad, that Gypsy wanted him to tell her no to marrying Ryan and puts a lot of guilt on her dad. And I didn't like that. Like, I didn't like that weird spin that all of a sudden she's like, well, I would have never married Ryan if dad would have just told me no. I wanted him to tell me no, so I had an out. It's like, what? That's not very nice to put on your dad like that.
Make your own decisions.
Yeah.
But then again, we're kind of back to she went into prison at a very young age, and mentally she's probably stunted a little bit, like right there. She is, like you've said in our previous videos, very childlike.
She is, but she does have a therapist and everything. So I hope that she is trying to actually work on herself and not just doing whatever she's supposed to be told, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and hope
Because
the
I feel
therapist is a good therapist and not just whoever will sign the paperwork for your parole.
I don't know, this seems like a lot of really bad decisions over and over and over again. Rod is talking about the separation and apologizing for not saying anything about her marrying Ryan. He tells Gypsy to not hide if y'all are in love. If you're in love, show it. If you're in love, tell the world. He says the last thing I need is to say is, sorry. He says the last thing I need to say is that she wants a baby. And she says that to Kent, and he says that to Kent. See, stop. Stop it.
A very, very weird
It was so weird.
thing to throw into the conversation there.
Everything about this whole thing was weird. Like, even when Ken got there, it felt weird. And, like, she was, like, sitting on his lap in front of her parents. And I guess everybody's different, but in my family, like, Especially that was the first time he was
No
seeing Ken.
PDA at the parents'
Mhm.
house. Yeah, I thought that was strange.
So they pretty much end it with him saying, and she wants a baby, and then goes to 4 weeks later, and it's like Gypsy taking a video on her phone herself, talking about the pregnancy tests and that she took two and that they were positive, and so yeah, 4 weeks later.
And our first thought is, oh no, her dad's gonna kill her.
Lies. But I almost wonder if they filmed that scene of them all four together, like after they even did the real pregnancy announcement, like he already knew. You know what I'm saying? Because they can stitch that all together any way they want to, you know what I'm saying? So, whatever, they show Ken and Gypsy frolicking in the woods or whatever, rolling all over each other. I don't fucking care. So they go to Ryan. The producer asks him what he thinks about the whole thing, and he says, I don't know what to think. He says that she doesn't know who the father is. Ryan says him and Gypsy were trying to get pregnant the whole time.
And I mean, how could she know who the father is? Because potentially it really could be either of them. It's honestly probably more likely to be Ryan's, if we're being
I think so
honest.
too. And she's still contacting Ryan up until very recently.
And sending him pictures of said pregnancy tests and
You know, at the beginning of this whole series, the very first episode, when Gypsy's first getting out, she talks about how she wants to be an advocate and, a decent member of society and to explore things. I did not expect her to try and turn into freaking Bad Girls Club Gypsy Rose B. Okay? That was not
no, it has taken a wild turn.
100%. I would have never thought that we were looking at Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the next reality star, bringing all the mess. I would have never guessed.
No, and it's so messy.
These last two
Which
episodes,
I do blame Christy for a lot of the mess.
yeah, I want to know what her deal is because her daughter and her husband both seem like the exact opposite vibe as her.
Right. They're like, mind your business and stay out of it and leave them alone. And she just won't leave them alone.
I don't think she could if she wanted to. She is drawn into the drama just like Gypsy. And honestly, I wonder if she's similar to like if Rod has a type. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Yeah, but then how is the sister so normal?
Because she has her dad's personality. I'd like to know what everybody else is thinking about these last couple of episodes. And it looks like there is going to be a season 2. Let us know if you want us to cover season 2, if you guys were into the whole Gypsy Rose of it all. I know we were. We had a great time doing this.
Yes, has been fun.
If there's any other reality shows or docu-series you guys are into, we are fully up for a suggestion. But I think it is about time to go. It's my bedtime.
I need to see the inside of my eyelids.
Thanks all. We'll see you later.
like, comment, subscribe.
All
All
of the things.
Yep. Okay, bye.